Hey everybody, Jason Bermas here, and welcome to Mixed Martial Mindset. We're across the board. Could you not hear me? I thought for a second you were just making a face. I thought for a second I was still muted, and there was complete jackassery.
No.
Apparently not. You know what it is? It's that fierce beard is making me nervous, John. How does a man like yourself, after being clean cut for so many years in mixed martial arts, and then kind of going on the outskirts of a little bit of a beard?
Wasn't really clean cut in MMA.
Your
I
young
had a beard
career,
most of the time when I fought, it was usually a beard.
the beard was
just,
this thick back in
it was
the day when you were
just-
fighting in the
yeah.
UFC. Tops.
clean shaven. Now it's just going Paul Bunyan style on it, letting it grow.
I love it. I love it. So here's the deal, everybody.
Preparing for the apocalypse.
Well, we'll get into the apocalypse later. We got a
Gas
ton to
apocalypse.
go over. Fitch, did you see that Elon Musk is trying to pick a physical fight now with Poot and is basically goading him on Twitter and the Russian oligarchy about his Starlink being up there?
Elon would get thrown on his head by Putin, I think.
Do you think so? By the way, guys, how's the audio between me and Fitch? Because I've been really low compared to him lately, and he's been really high. If you could tell me in the comment section, let me know, guys, as we do this. So he really did this. Like, this is why it's a cartoon, bro. And this is why I warn people that it's all Defense Department.
Well, just silly.
It's beyond silly, bro. It's like...
Hasn't it always been this silly, though? Is it, like rulers back in the day
I would say
would
even...
tell their little stories at a soiree, and people would say, "Oh, did you hear what's his name was saying?" I don't know.
I mean,
Now it's just faster. Social media,
I think
direct
that...
contact.
I think you're right to some extent, especially he's low. So, all right, let's put you up a little bit, Fitch. All right, now hopefully we'll be good here, guys. It's not you. Yeah, hands up. It's on me on this one. So say something, Fitch, for the for Jan. Jan, thank you so much for supporting the broadcast. I know that you've been a long time listener. Good fights. I thought the UFC Fight Night card was actually pretty excellent. I watched some of the Bellator. You mentioned you watched some of the bare knuckle. Fight of the night. Okay, I'm sorry, or fight of the weekend. I usually don't call out boxing matches too much, but was this Conlon Wood fight? It was crazy. Yo, Conlon had him all sorts of hurt in the first and second. He knocked him on his ass with I think less than 10 seconds. He was saved by the bell, basically, right around 10 seconds in the first round. And then the second round, he dominated him too. Great fight. And then he gets ultra KO'd in the last round. He was winning on every judge's scorecard.
Yeah, I can't remember if I was watching this one. I was watching something, waiting for the other fights to start.
Well, there were daytime fights for the UFC. They were pretty solid. But again, Elon Musk fighting Putin is not a winning battle for anybody. I want to put that out there right now. I want to let everybody know that's I'm not playing. That's not me making it up.
It's the whole pansy boy thing about posting about fighting online. So those are the guys who've never fought. Like, I'll punch him, or I'll fight him, or I tell him a thing. No.
I look at it this way. I mean, we're living in a cartoon where they think a billionaire who's a defense contractor on every level and pro-transhumanism wants to put brain chips in you is putting up tweets. Important warning. Starlink is the only non-Russian communication still working in some parts of Ukraine, so the probability of it being targeted is high. Please use with caution. I mean, these are military actions. Can you imagine if the United States right now was in a border war with either Canada or Mexico? We're going to have to make believe, folks, because there are border nations. We're in a border war with them. Okay? And some billionaire from another land, from Russia, starts putting communication satellites up in favor of Mexico or Canada. And then
challenging the fist fights.
And no, challenging Joe Biden to a poopy pants race. I mean, we're in cartoon world, bro. It's cartoon land. So before we get going, here's the deal. We're gonna get into some cartoonish shit. You know, we talked a little bit about the seriousness of companies leaving Russia, and I joked about how it wasn't funny that McDonald's was leaving. There's this viral video out there, and apparently it has been confirmed. I thought it might be a parody. Apparently it is not.
They're getting rid of all the terrible stuff.
It's not, actually. Wait till you see the list of things that have been canceled. We're in big trouble. And people don't understand that either. This man, look at him. He's obviously in great health. Chained himself to McDonald's to try to prevent it from closing. And is on a rant how it's been here for 30 years. And look, it's not that it's McDonald's, folks. Okay, I get it. It's ha funny. That's what the joke is. But what's not the joke? Do you know how many companies are leaving or have left? Let me show you this.
Lots.
Lots. I don't think lots is even close. Let me just put this behind me for a moment, guys. This section right here is the A's and the B's. We're just getting into the C's on that. Take a good look at what's happening right now. This is, and here's the deal. Inflation's happening because they just bent you over and raped you for literally 2 years economically, no matter what you think about.
More and more money.
And gave it to the poorest of the poor.
Bills.
Not to work. And they incentivized, I'm not even going to say what they incentivized because you know what? We can't say it here on YouTube. They incentivized bad things, and we're all paying the bill. And we found out they were also paying news agencies. Duh. Well, guess what?
Yep.
Do you think all these companies are just leaving out of the goodness of their heart? Or are we subsidizing that as well? What do you think's happening right now? Get with it, everybody who's going, the ghost of Kiev.
All those little corporations, all those little companies are owned by some larger conglomerate. There's probably like 6 companies that own everything.
I mean, let's take a look at just some of the visuals right now of what you just saw there. You saw the long list, everybody. But I know that symbols and corporations and things like that, that's a lot of little symbols. I know it's not full screen for you. We'll put it up here again. Now look at that. It's a little bit more. That's a lot. That's a lot of business. That's a lot of moolah. And I remember when COVID 1984 really kicked off, John was like, you know, well, if they blow out the dollar, what are they going to do? Well, we're going to be talking about that today. And I said, it doesn't really matter what they do with the currency, as long as
Fed coin. Ready to start talking about Fed coin.
Now, we are going to get into the crypto and what they're calling CB central bank DCs, which are digital currency, CBDCs. Mm-hmm. All right, that's their little paraphrase for it. So,
Fed coin.
I always said it didn't matter what they do to the actual dollar. It's who gets to own everything, who gets to own all the land. And then lo and behold, what were the big stories out there? Oh, companies like BlackRock that back your favorite politicians, like the one in New York who's going to challenge everybody, Lee Zeldin. Oh, they're going to buy everything.
Loans.
They talk about Russian oligarchs. Our 3 oligarchs, Bezos, Musk, and I'm not even sure if it's even Gates. It might be Bezos, Musk, Gates. I might be getting the third one wrong. But those 3 people combined have way more wealth than the top 100 oligarchs that they're now arresting and seizing assets of, everybody. Think about that. You're being lied to.
They've rolled up their competition.
You're being lied to on a massive, massive level. And you know what? We didn't even plug you yet, Fitch. We're 10 minutes deep. We haven't plugged anything. We're gonna plug some stuff here because without you guys, I couldn't do it. In fact, I do want to thank a couple of new subscribers. I know a lot of people enjoyed the Lookout Mountain video yesterday, where you get to see the inside of the, I guess the inner workings of the Hollywood studios that the government had in the San Fernando Valley and beyond back in 1967 and before that, John. If you haven't seen it, it's a good one. Joseph Parrott, thank you so much. And we got a new yearly. Christina Kappen, thank you so much. Lots of tips I've missed on those videos. Jaylene, Mimi, Kent, Kim, thank you guys so much. You make the broadcast possible. By the way, we're on Podbean Live right now. If you have the app, you can call in. Follow me there. And if people are into podcasts, another great way to
do it.
Yeah, do it big. JohnFitch.net. What's going on over there other than just, the latest John Fitch Knows Nothing, seminars, all that stuff?
Yeah, but it's been teaching. I do online teaching also. I do fitness, diet, get you jacked type stuff, along with self-defense. So if you're in town or want to have me out for a seminar, hit me up in my DMs or email. Give them my contact page. Otherwise, sign up for the newsletter.
And I've seen you posting a lot about unturding yourself. It's never too late to turn.
Never
You
too
can
late
polish
to
a
turn,
human
right.
turd. You can actually take a human turd, and with hard work, discipline, and diet,
You can
John,
put some muscle on there. You can put some muscle in there. You can get it done. Consistency is what it takes.
you're not wrong. So here's the deal.
No, look at this guy.
You know what? It's
This guy is not a beacon of health. This guy is not the beacon of health.
I
hope.
actually have
Oh.
a tweet specifically about health with the latest cover of Cosmopolitan from The Last American Vagabond.
I don't want to sit next to that guy on the plane.
You're not going to have to, because this guy is a total minion of the predator class. He probably flies private only. He's got heavy guards, and he's heavily invested in lies, hate, and central banking. And as we were just talking about, we've talked about the oligarchs getting arrested. Many people are aware that people had all these businesses taken away, many of them digital services. Remember, now they're talking about what the infrastructure looks like, mass censorship. It's not Chinese style censorship because we're seeing it here. RT America, gone. RT, the YouTube channel, gone. So many YouTube channels are going to get taken down for saying the wrong thing. And that's why, if I think that we're getting in a direction.
Yeah, it's gonna get a lot worse before it gets any better. Like the Alex Joneses, the Milo, like all that stuff, the early stuff, like nothing's gotten better. Like it hasn't improved. There's no safer position. There's no clear definitions of what's, acceptable and not acceptable. It's just continuing spiraling in the wrong direction.
So this guy is going to basically tell you right out in the open. This is like a guy telling you he's about to sit on your chest and he's going to take a dump in your mouth if he wants to. It's going to be up to you what you do when he sits on your chest. Are you going to accept it, or are you going to push him off and beat the brakes off him? If you do that, you might get some poopy pants. He's telling you they want a digital currency that they know everything you do, because they don't know how $100 bill or 1,000 peso is spent.
They will know where you spend it, who you spend it on, where it came from, where it's going,
and then have direct
they
access.
Can shut it off.
Listen, exactly.
Yeah, we don't think you should be buying that right now.
And he talks about that. We got a new tip over here from Nomad Above and Beyond. Thank you so much. Let's play the clip. Again, this is the Bank for International Settlements. This is what they're telling you they're going to do.
Our analysis on CBDC, in particular for the use of general use, we tend to establish the equivalence with cash, and there is a huge difference there. For example, in cash, we don't know, for example, who's using a $100 bill today. We don't know who is using a 1,000 peso bill today. A key difference with the CBDC is that central bank will have absolute control on the rules and regulations that will determine the use of that expression of central bank liability.
Think about that. Absolute control over the use of your money. He's telling you that. I mean, he didn't mince words there. He said absolute control over the use of how you get to spend your money. It continues.
And also, we will have the technology to enforce that.
Oh,
Those two issues are extremely important, and that makes a huge difference with respect to what cash is.
you see that? It makes a huge, since we can enforce it and we can tell you what you're allowed to buy and what not to buy, and we have total control over it, it changes everything. You bet it does. And that's why I keep telling people.
Terrifying people.
And don't worry, if you want to start filing your taxes online and they're moving everything to digital, there'll also be facial recognition. They want biometrics attached to all of this. That's the reality. And what are they looking at? It's funny. So we were on, I do the, you should come to these now.
Measuring your cameras, measuring your pulse rate as you do your taxes if you're lying. Wait a minute there, buddy. You forgot to carry the one.
They don't have to, listen, with facial recognition, they won't have to measure your heart rate. Although, don't get me wrong, the NASA technology is there. We've actually played that video on air where the World Economic Forum, well, they remember they brag that they don't need facial recognition. They can hone in on your heartbeat, and your heartbeat is as unique as your fingerprint, and they can identify you that way. So yes, they could just hone in that way, but the facial recognition technology, they can use AI in real time so that they will ask you a series of questions where they will feel you're being truthful and comfortable, and then over a series of time ask you another series of questions and then really put it to you. Like, these people are insane. The other thing is, John, when they're talking about a quote-unquote central banking digital currency, they don't want one like Bitcoin or anything that's decentralized. We just had that executive order signed. We don't know where everything is going. And I even mentioned the World Economic Forum.
I still haven't got any clarification of what that even was.
Oh.
Just an old rambling man?
No. First of all, John, we live in reality. I'm glad that I do. Guys, I want to say this right now. I want to thank the Lord Jesus Christmas up and beyond that I do a show with a man that has common sense and is reasonable and does not live in fantasy land. So John Fitch realizes, as I realize, Joe Biden doesn't run anything. Seriously, he doesn't run anything. So basically, somebody
came on, mumbled a bunch, and I don't understand what happened.
There wasn't. So
the price didn't really fluctuate much.
No, because it wasn't. Basically, he signed an executive order on an exploratory committee. Okay, let's start there. So basically, the exploratory committee is it's going to put out a paper, right? And I guarantee you that paper is going to call for more centralized control and regulation of everything, number one. Number two, it's going to establish that anything that is not of that nature will be
evil.
Not just evil, will be
funds hatred,
funds terrorism, bigotry. Funds terrorism. They're going to say it funds terrorism because they're already setting that case, right? They're already setting
climate change.
John, you're not wrong. There will be a Vice article why cryptocurrency, hurts the earth or whatever. You're right. They'll probably say that too. But the deal is, then people's accounts will be wiped completely. Like, as soon as the next step after this is the prep step. But then they want, when I say they, I'm talking about when I say the words they, for those just listening, I mean the World Economic Forum. They've already done their exploratory papers. Oh. Mm-hmm. And they have talked about XRP, aka Ripple, which is an infinite IMF SDR style currency, special drawing right unit on a blockchain. That's it. And they just want a ledger of everything so they decide who gets what and where they can spend it. That's reality pants, everybody. So Joe Biden, it's scary because he doesn't and hasn't run anything. I'm sorry, that's not a conspiracy theory. Jen Psaki is the one that has to make short videos gaslighting the public that prices of gas are going up because of old Poot. That's why, John. Did you know that? It's Pootski.
It had nothing to do with anything else that happened in the last 2 years. It's just Putin's mean. Putin's a mean guy. And meanness, we learned that meanness was a bad thing with the Trump tweets. We learned how meanness was bad. So Putin's being mean too. So we know he's bad.
You know, here's probably...
Thanks, Saki. Thanks. Go have a margarita and some hot dogs.
Yeah, she loves it all. It's easy, right?
Tacos or whatever the hell she said.
Thomas Massey, this guy is one of the better gentlemen out there. I'll give him that. Basically, he lays it right down here. And Massey is a guy that has when they've tried to pass bills in the night, he lives in the neighborhood. Someone calls him, he literally runs down and makes sure it can't happen. Guy's actually a true hero. He's one of the few people out there that's been doing the right thing for a long time. You don't hear about him much. He's legit. Congress under both Trump and Biden. Oh, look at that. Oh, somebody who's dragging them both. Wow. Spent $7 trillion we didn't have.
7 trillion
In the name of COVID 1984. I'll add the 1984 for the listeners out there. Thomas Massey, you're not attributed to that quote, but you know damn well what I'm talking about. There wasn't $7 trillion available to borrow. So of course we printed trillions of dollars. Anyone who is telling you this didn't cause inflation is either ignorant or they are lying, John. I think that's a pretty damn fair assessment.
They are lying. They're running for office. They're running for something. It's ridiculous. Like the idea that the printing of 80% of the US dollar in the last 2 years or whatever it hasn't had an effect on the price of things. That cutting our own production of natural gases and shit wouldn't contribute in raising prices, being dependent on other countries. It's just asinine. Asinine. It's just asinine. And I've had this conversation with liberal friends of mine in the past. You know, they're all about we have to cut our fuel use, and we have to cut all this stuff and do this for global warming. I'm like, well, wait a minute, like China pollutes way more than us. And they're not taking any steps to like make anything better. They're not trying to end their pollution or use less fossil fuels. And then you look at Russia, they're not doing any of that stuff either. I'm like, if none of the nations we are competing against are doing these things, like we're just going to hurt ourselves. We're going to hurt ourselves and fall behind. And that's not a good thing. Like, regardless of your stances on global warming, if we're dependent on another nation's fuel and we have to pay them money, that's not a good thing. We're way better off being independent for those things. It's not.
Let's take it a step further. By doing this with Russia, and we're going to show you some serious things that are beyond sanctions right now. Okay? Now, I'm not sure if we won't get censored for showing you this. Hopefully this won't be a strike. I'm not contending that this is or is not Russian disinformation. I will say that Michael Tracy, although I do not agree with him on a lot, does pretty good work. He is on the Rockfin. You can check him out uncensored. Currently, his Twitter is open. He's saying this, and he's saying that's what this picture is. These pictures, I should say. And if you're telling me that these, again, with like Elon Musk putting up satellites called Starlink, when he also puts up satellites for DARPA called Blackjack, and he also has defense contracts for SpaceX for military cargo everywhere. He's trying to pick fights with Putin, and he's going back and forth. Okay, let me repeat this. Back and forth with members in the Kremlin. I'll show you those in a second. This is maybe just as alarming, John. The Pentagon is barring media access to these facilities. No one on site will answer questions about operations underway, and journalists are having a meltdown because I posted simple photos. Oh, yes, he did. Hopefully, this gives insight to how utterly warped U.S. media is at the moment. Thank you, Michael Tracy. So this is the U.S. military. Let's click on it here. Loading vehicles in Poland, around 60 miles from the Ukrainian border. Now, let me repeat that. 60 miles. That's a 45-minute drive on the highway, guys. All right?
Sunday afternoon drive.
Not even. Like
Allowed to see grandma.
Okay? Little to no information about giving any info on what these operations. We are sending military aid in here. You understand that? This is warfare. Get serious about it. And that's why when I posted this, oh no, we're going to get to that in a minute. That's not what I wanted. I wanted this one. Iran missiles strike U.S. facilities in Iraq. Things are popping off between Israel and Iran right now. These are not, you're not hearing any of this in the mainstream media. And are you hearing any of it, John?
Israel and Iran right now is getting hot.
It's getting hot, dude. First of all,
I've not heard about the heat.
There's some heat. So 21st Century Newswire does some really great work. And Iran's Revolutionary Guard claimed responsibility for a strike over in Erbil, Iraq. And remember, our big ally there is Israel. Let's type it in. Let's see what the mainstream or international news has. We'll just type it in Israel, Iran. Okay. Covert drone war between Israel and Iran goes public with missile launch in Iraq. And this is out of Heratz. So, I mean, that's a mouthpiece a lot of times for the establishment out there in Israel, although there are a lot of good Heratz pieces here. So basically, they're talking about a drone war that's now going hot, John. Lovely. Guys, when this happens and you're in a global conflict and you're supposedly trying to negotiate a nuclear deal with Iran, anything, I mean, people don't understand. The boiling pots for both World War I and World War II were different global conflicts all over that spilled over.
No, so it's like nobody, like, daddy's out of town, right? And everybody's like, nah, we're just gonna fuck around and figure this shit out on our own because nobody is respecting. Like, I feel like the U.S. is the ones that kept people in check. You're gonna have Iran and Israel going to war in the Middle East. You're gonna have things continue to pop off with Russia. China is gonna take Taiwan.
I don't, they keep talking about that. It's a.
All coming.
So as you can see, I want to show.
Who's going to stop them? Who's going to stop them?
Well, they don't want to stop any of it. Listen, we already have the Global Economic Forum and Klaus Schwab talking about an angrier world. They want
send our guys in to help them with gender equity.
Don't even get me going on that. Don't even get me going. Eventually, we're going to be going over to the Rockfin, folks. We've been 30 minutes live. And somewhat censored, where I can't really get into a lot of the things I'd love to get into.
Parts can't even get into the best parts.
YouTube
is weak sauce.
We're gonna get there. Don't worry. But I want to show people this. He goes, "Sorry to be a free speech absolutist." Bullshit, Elon Musk. You're a free speech absolutist? I don't believe that for a second. Someone starts questioning you and DARPA and Blackjack and SpaceX, I guarantee you're not a free speech absolutist. And by the way, DuckDuckGo is reportedly de-ranking Russian disinformation as well. So here we go. Basically, the tweet prompted a nearly immediate response from the head of the Russian space agency. And by the way, they're making videos in Russia that they're leaving the ISS and they may kill the astronauts and take down the ISS. They're threatening that. You're not hearing that in the U.S. media. We're going to show you that in a minute as well.
Jesus.
Yeah. He goes,
That's
you little
work situation.
No one's reporting on it here. No one's reporting on it in the States. So he goes, you little devil are still young. Dmitry Rogozin, director of Roscosmos since 2018, wrote, compete with me, weakling. It would only be a waste of time. Overtake my brother first. So They go back and forth. Like, this is like schoolyard nonsense, right? And like they're making jokes that who is this? The vice prime minister chimed in, says he's sure that Elon Musk can send Putin to Jupiter. That's the Ukrainian one. So this is all propaganda. This is all for you to think that this guy's the hero. Yeah, he's the guy for freedom, and Ukraine's about freedom. I just want everybody to know that. But you know what? We'll do it right now. We'll do it live, John, as we often do.
He'll set up his business.
Let's see. ISS threatened by Russia. So yes. Let's see. There's a fact check. Live Science is saying it's fake. But let's see. Let's see the competing thing. What are they saying here? So the fact check. News outlets incorrectly reported Dmitry, the same guy that was fighting with Musk, by the way, had threatened to strand astronauts on the ISS. So what's the fact check here? I don't understand where we're going here. But where's Vandal I began his mission. However, after President Joe Biden instituted new sanctions in response to the Russian invasion of Ukraine, several news outlets reported Dmitry. Yep. Okay. He said it was a joke. Okay, so they're basically saying this video that they made is a joke, but I haven't seen a retraction here. So it says he could leave on March 30th. There's the dude right there. This is the video. So yeah, I mean, it's got a little flair. I can say that, no matter whether it's fake or not.
It's fun.
It's a fun little video.
Nice. Very nice.
Oh, you got to be able to laugh. All right. So we were talking a little bit about weight, and like, this large gentleman earlier basically saying that I can't wait to have digital slavery coin, right? This is the cover of Cosmopolitan, and this is what it says, John. This is healthy. 11 women on why wellness doesn't have to be one size fits all. Now listen, it doesn't have to be one size fits all. You're actually correct. People are born with different genetics, and people do have different frames.
Body fat composition.
Absolutely. But I don't care. You can't even tell. Actually, you can kind of tell.
Belly fat. We know body fat, excessive body fat, excessive belly fat. They're linked to all kinds of health disorders and problems. It's not a question. It's not about hate.
I would say universally, a bad sign would be a noticeable second neck chin. Okay, that is a noticeable sign on anybody's body.
Yep.
When this area here, this one, you see this? Listen.
A large fupa is not good.
We're probably getting canceled for that one. I'm just pointing out that
it's not healthy, but look, women are responsible for 80% of the spending. Okay, I can't remember where they get that from, but it's been backed up a number of times. Even though they might not make as much money as men, they spend way more. Okay, so all the marketing is geared towards women. And if you tell women that they're perfect the way they are, and they look great if they just spend the money on your product, they're going to buy your product and think that they're awesome, and you're going to make more money that way. And that's why we have ridiculous ad campaigns telling people that there is no healthy size. All sizes are healthy. No. Body fat is a very large indicator of poor health. Very much so.
I would have to agree. And when you've got that much body fat all over your body, because listen, man, I ain't perfect. I'm not John Fitch. I'm not
joints, hips, Like, her feet are probably all busted up.
Bro, you look at her,
There's no need.
and here's the
Just
thing.
moving around, your average day-to-day stuff you got to do is harder. You're carrying extra weight. You don't need to.
I can tell just from that photograph there. Okay, just from the photograph I'm looking at, that the way her upper arm goes into her lower arm and what's going on with her wrist, even in this area right here, just this right here, that this woman actually has a very slender body type. Okay, and she is with probably, a little bit of weight up here and maybe in her hips. You know what I'm saying? But she is she's 100+ pounds overweight. She's extremely unhealthy. She's looking at maybe living to 50 if she continues. None of this is good. This is not normal. It's not okay. We should not be promoting this. And
Nope.
I'm sorry, it's wrong.
That acceptance is killing people.
That's exceptional.
Crazy.
But I would assume, because we've said such things, okay, we're obviously, Putin sycophants. So Rolling Stone, a magazine.
That's what I think when I think Tucker Carlson.
Dude.
Putin sycophant, you.
I used to read that. First of all, it wasn't ever really highly political, right? Let's be honest. First of all, it was competing with other magazines of the day. Print was still the medium that was selling things, and people had subscriptions, and online wasn't as big in the late 90s and early 2000s, etc. It didn't have the same content, all that stuff. But it used to be, all right, Rage Against the Machine, there'd be a little politics. System of a Down, there'd be a little politics. But that was about it.
I had a Rolling Stone subscription back in the day.
Pretty just
late 90s, I think, probably. Yeah.
Pretty and open range, right? The artists could say what they want. They weren't going to get canceled. There was no outrage. Really, the only thing you cared about so much about those interviews was whether or not you liked the album, and then get a little insight into the band. Now, Rolling Stone, just like SNL and so many of these things that you and I in our generation grew up with and have a certain soft spot for, right? Emotionally, at least. And we associate those with our youthful memories, has gone totally political and total cancel culture and total propaganda. Rolling Stone, to their credit, Matt Taibbi and I had our differences and probably still do, okay? He was, a big person who ranked on 9/11 Truth. But Rolling Stone used to publish a lot of Taibbi stuff, and he went big time, when it was the financial crisis. And he's one of the few journalists that I even trust a little bit, like Glenn Greenwald or anyone that's been semi-mainstream. Instead, you're now getting Russian state TV can't get enough of Putin sycophant Tucker Carlson. Wow. Sycophant.
It's all just PR, man. It's all just PR.
Oh, it's a lot of PR. So, here's the deal. I want to go live for another 20 minutes or so, but what we're really going to do is we're going to get into Musk. We're going to get into DARPA. We're going to talk about blackjack, okay? And we're going to talk about DARPA and some other things of a biological nature. Because apparently, John, there's some things going on in Ukraine of a biological nature.
That's what I heard. There may be something.
Whoop-a-doop-a-dop-a-doopa. It could be Russian disinformation, John. Yeah, lots
could be also that. Yep.
Yeah, it's total Russian disinfo.
Could be aliens. Also.
So if you want to hear of things of a biological nature, and we're not even talking about gender biology. Wow. I know that's the hot topic, but we're just talking things of a biological nature,
which is all a construct.
Yes, you got to come over to the Rockfin. Maybe you want to just go to the Podbean app. We got some people over in the Podbean. There's 20 more minutes.
Say hi.
Yeah, there's 20 more minutes. You could still call into the show. I get a phone call on that.
Something controversial.
Yes, once we're gone from YouTube, because guys, again, I can't reiterate it enough. You know, they took me down. They took down 8 videos in less than 40.
It's the soft space.
Yeah, 48
Safe
hours,
space.
8 videos gone. And I don't think any of these broke any type of rules. I spit truth. That's what we do here. JohnFitch.net's where you find John Fitch. Thumbs the video up, subscribe, and share. But once again, Rockfin and Podbean. Rockfin? Podbean. Rockfin? Podbean. Did I mention Rockfin and Podbean?
Podbean.
Rockfin. And you can follow me on Twitter too, but Rockfin and Podbean, we hate big tech control. So YouTube,